with your boy Jeffrey Gard from The Whole Traveler, and it's our final day in Athens and our very first Viking Cruise excursion, and I can't wait to show you what we did coming up. Alright, so by now we've already spent 4 days exploring Athens, and if you want to see what we got ourselves into, check out my other videos on my first Viking Cruise playlist for all the wonders we've seen so far and the hijinks we got ourselves into. Today, we're capping it off with a bus ride, zipping through the nicer and the not so nice parts of Athens. For those wanting to learn more about the Viking excursions, I have the full list of those excursions that happen on that day in PDF format, along with the Viking Daily for that particular day on my website. For day 4, just go to thewholetraveler.com/cruises and click on the day 4 article, scroll to the bottom, and you'll find all of those PDF documents there that you just can click on and print. Kadoosh, you're done. It's helpful if you want to learn more about the Viking experience, if you're curious about what Viking's like, or if you plan to go on this particular cruise, you can see what's in store for you. This excursion was the Panoramic Athens Archaeological Museum, number GRP01, and it was the free excursion that's included in the package that you pay for. So every day has a free excursion that comes with part of your package, and we did only the free excursions so I could report back to you what it was like. This excursion was 4 hours, and for us it began at 12:15 p.m. So what that means is before the excursion, we had a full morning to ourselves, and we took full advantage of that on the ship by sleeping in. Jet lag was still hanging around like a bad guest, and we were beat like 2 street dogs. The night before, we had a late dinner at Manfredi's, and that was okay. The reservation we had booked had been mysteriously dropped, but in the end, it was good. It all worked out fine, but we just got to bed a little bit later than usual, and again, we were just so tired. One thing we did before going to sleep was we pre-ordered room service for breakfast. We took the little door tag and ordered what we wanted, hung it outside, and like magic, the breakfast arrived. So we ate in our pajamas in our cabin, and we watched the cruise lectures on demand, and that was just so comforting and so nice. It's just a really nice, lazy little morning. We explored the ship afterwards, and I'm gonna tell you what, one of my favorite places on the Viking Star is this cozy area in the living room. It's tucked away and has the most comfy seats where you're surrounded by books. Is there anything more comforting in life than just being surrounded by books in a comfy seat? I mean, it's better than lorazepam. Piper, no! The books are a mix of art, history, and culture, which I also appreciated. Tsunami! We ended up relaxing there and just reading, and it was pure heaven. I don't know if you're like me, but I have to remind myself constantly that traveling is not the amazing race. I'm so anxious about not wanting to waste a single minute while traveling that I try to squeeze in and do as much as I possibly can, and I forget that I'm human, and that I get tired, and that I get exhausted, and that jet lag is real, and that it's all okay. Travel stress is real, and that it's so important to have those times in your vacation that you carve out for just recharging, just relaxing. And doing it this morning was a true gift. And to do it on the Viking Star, a floating luxury hotel, well, that was just perfect. Okay, so back to the bus. You have to board 15 minutes before your leave time, and that's printed everywhere, so you're not going to miss it. You have to also bring with you your voucher that allows you on that particular bus. It has the bus number on it with your name on it, and you get all these vouchers at the very start of your trip during the registration and embarkation, so make sure you double check to make sure you have all of the things, all the excursions that you signed up for. You also have to bring your Vox boxes, or what they call quiet Vox boxes. Don't forget those. They're the audio guides that have the earpiece that you need. That's essential because the places we're going are super noisy, and there's often other groups led by a guided tour who are also speaking. And so the only way you're going to hear what your tour guide is saying is through the earpiece, so you need your Vox boxes. Don't forget them. We were off, starting in Port Piraeus, which is actually a really lovely port where our ship is docked, and this panoramic tour was like the greatest hits of Athens. We drove from the port all the way to the Archaeological Museum, and along the way we stopped and hit some major places to check out from the bus on the way, and then from the Archaeological Museum back to port we hit a few more hot spots. Now, I'm going to be perfectly candid with you. If this was your only cultural immersion experience, meaning your flight was delayed and you had a late embarkation onto the ship, I do think you're going to feel cheated by this excursion. It will not feel like you really experienced Athens on this panoramic tour. This is why, if you're doing this tour, I do recommend that you give yourself a few extra days in Athens before embarkation. Now, I don't recommend paying for the Viking pre-extension package, as I pointed out in other videos and in my articles, because you can organize your own for way cheaper. But it's important to understand that Athens requires some time to explore and digest. There is a lot to do here, and a minimum of 3 full days in Athens is what I strongly recommend, so that you can get the full effect of this ancient metropolis. For us, it was day 4 in Athens, and so we already did quite a bit. So to do this panoramic tour, which is kind of like an executive summary, yes, thank you, please, because I was tired. And by the looks of some of these other guests, I wasn't the only one. The only stop between Port Piraeus and the Archaeological Museum that we made was the Panathenaic Olympic Stadium and the Temple of Zeus. I can't believe I said that right. I was grateful for that treat. We didn't go into the arena. We just saw the outside for about 10 minutes, and it was perfect. That was perfect for getting the full wonder and effect of the site, of this historic site. And it was great to see it in person, but you don't need more than 10 minutes. So perfect. We got back on the bus and we continued. There's one super important thing you need to know about this tour. The bus tour from port to the museum is about a 30 to 40 minute ride with no bathrooms. So pace your coffee and water intake in the morning, because by the time our bus unloaded at the museum, I'm telling you, I was full on Sha'Carri Richardson, beating her record, running for my life to that museum entrance for the bathroom. It was a race against time, and thank God I won, but just barely. The buses do not have porta-johns in them, so just be mindful of that and pace your liquid intake. The meat of the excursion is the Archaeological Museum. It's a neoclassical beauty on the outside with some airy configurations inside, but as you can see, it was also really packed. Our tour guide, for the most part, was great at showing us the most important points of interest and giving us some chronology and cultural context that were not on the signs. And that's really one of the great perks of having an in-the-know tour guide, is that you get a little bit of extra on the side. But honestly, the information, at a certain point, the information was just going in one ear and out the other, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, don't get it twisted. I love history, culture, and sculpture, all of which this museum has in spades, but my mind at this point just couldn't absorb any more details. So I stopped trying. I stopped trying to be this like pseudo-academic intellect, and I just started gravitating to what I found interesting, and that made it so much more of an enjoyable experience. My favorite piece was the bronze boy on the horse. I fell in love with this piece so hard. It's not just a technical masterpiece, there's so much emotion to it. I don't know for a fact, but I feel so certain that the sculptor had probably used his own child as the model because of the expression and the emotion and the beauty. The scale, the proportions and details of both the horse and the boy are just so lifelike. It's a stunning piece of work from that period of time when you realize the limited technology they had available to them. It took my breath away. It is such a standout moment. I couldn't recommend this more. I've seen it in person. It will really, really give you the wows. One area of the museum I definitely recommend is the enclosed courtyard garden, especially if you need to recharge. It's filled with beautiful animal statues and ruins, but it's also a really great place to visit, to enjoy the lush garden, and just to hit that pause button if your mind is like wah 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 wah, which sometimes that's how I get in museums. So check out the inner garden courtyard. You'll appreciate it. Afterwards, we finished our drive with seeing the Hellenic Parliament at Syntagma Square, which is the former royal palace of the Greek royal family. Sadly, we didn't get to see the Evzones presidential guards marching at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, but we were able to catch a glimpse of them doing it the day before as the shuttle bus was passing the Syntagma Square, taking us to Hadrian's Gate, so that was kind of a plus. Something unexpected that became my favorite part of the panoramic tour was the everyday moments of Athens that you get to see on the bus. Like the soldiers having a cigarette outside the bus station, the graffiti, someone's old house. I know that we're supposed to fall in love with all the beautiful stuff, and I did for sure. But there's something equally magical about the mundane and the normal stuff. It reminds me that even though I'm a world away from my own world, we as people are really no different. And I love being reminded of that. We got back to port, and once back on board, we ran to that winter garden for tea. I don't know why, but the tea at the winter garden became like our safe place. We gotta get to the winter garden. It was such a beautiful place to chill. Afterwards, we went to the gym and did a workout and then a sauna and steam cycle, which completely melted away whatever tension I had, which wasn't much. And for dinner, we ate at the restaurant, which doesn't require reservations and is so elegant without being overly formal. It would be the place where we would have dinner every single day except for one night at the chef's table. And I can't recommend the restaurant more. Its menu has on one side food that's local to the region that you're in. So this one kind of mirrored different famous plates from Athens, and on the other side of the menu is a ton of familiar stuff like steak and mashed potatoes and french fries. I got that because I just wanted familiar, sometimes you just want familiar. I may have also eaten one or even two creme brulees, but I'm not admitting to anything. You have no proof. So this was the cruise in full gear. That night we left Athens, where we would arrive early in the morning in the island of Crete. Day 5 in Crete is coming up.